Hello everybody and welcome to round 9 of Corrieliminator, the game, the series, whatever you want to call it, where we take 300 of Coronation Street's biggest ever characters and whittle them down month by month by picking a random selection of 30, ranking them and putting 3 through to the grand finale, which is coming really, really soon. I can't believe, Gemma, this is right. This is the last sorting we're going to do, isn't it?
I know, I feel nostalgic now. How long have we been doing this for, like, over a year?
Yeah, year or so we started this ago, I think. Yeah, we've got 60 names left now we're in round 9, which means anyone that isn't selected by our random number generator this month will automatically go into next month. I guess if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to have a look at our spreadsheet and see who doesn't get picked. Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm kind of forgetting who we have and we haven't picked, to be honest, but I do know there are some still real legends left. So is this going to be a difficult month for us? We will have to wait and see. Before we do that, though, we need to have a look at last month's listener poll. So every month for Corrieliminator, we put the names that were selected up on a Google form for you guys to pick your top 3 of, just to see who you'd like to put through, and they'll all go head to head in a listener poll at the end. So Gemma, to have a look at our results for this month, any surprises for you here?
Well, I do love that people voted Graham as their third.
That's a mega surprise.
We voted Stan, didn't we?
I think we were Stans.
It's sad. It is sad in a way that Stan's legacy seems to have fallen.
Yeah, he's come, what, 5th there, it looks like?
I've always had a soft spot for Graham.
I've had a soft spot for Graham. I don't think out of the selection that's there. I mean, look, we've had to say goodbye here in the listener poll to Alec Gilroy as well. So, listeners, if you're listening, just the audio version of this, the listener poll has chosen Mavis and David and Graham. So Mavis and David, I think we put those through, didn't we? I can't actually remember.
I think
Find
you
out
probably
when we
would.
get through to the grand finale. We probably would have done. But yeah, Stan, Alec, neither of them got through. Norris, he didn't do too badly. I think it looks like he came 6th or so. And then Daisy. See, I would have seen Daisy getting a few more votes for this, wouldn't you?
Daisy has got definitely a big fan base, so... you guys didn't show up for her though, did you?
Maybe it's because of all that antics that she's been getting up to recently on screen.
It's really interesting.
She's been a bit of a bad girl, isn't she?
I do think that with the modern characters, whatever they've got up to in the past month or so is going to probably quite strongly influence how high they get.
This is true. But of course, with all of these, just like us, listeners can only pick 3. So maybe she just fell out of the top 3. Who didn't get any votes this month? So we've got Trisha Armstrong, didn't get any votes. Tracy Brabin may have got a few votes for herself when she was elected an MP.
That's probably why she didn't run as a character.
Yeah, character that she played, not so popular it seems. Gina Gregory, no votes for you as well. Bad luck. Vernon Tomlin, nothing. Andrea Beckett, see... We love Andrea, don't we?
I do.
I know that she's not popular, hugely, sort of generally popular among the Corrie fan base, but I thought she might get 1 vote at least. Who else didn't get much? Judy Mallett, Harry Hewitt, no surprises there. Even Frank Foster got 1, and Steph Britton got 1, so it's nice to see that Steph Britton has got some fans out there. But yeah, okay, so no huge surprises. Well, apart from the Graham Proctor one, of course, they'll be joining all of the other listener-voted characters in the listener grand finale in a couple of months' time. Are you ready to pick our characters for this month? I cannot wait to see who is going to be voted this month. Let's get this all loaded up. Here we go.
So you're going to cheat a little bit by seeing who's not been picked, but I can't see from it.
I'm not particularly looking.
Okay, because I want it to be a proper reveal next time too, as to who.
I don't think it's going to be that much. Well, we'll see.
Look, it will be a reveal to me because I don't pay attention.
Well, I might tell you.
All right with you?
I might just tell you. Right, okay, so we have got 60 names left. We've got 30 that we're just about to pick. So let's see who is chosen. Right in at number 1, we have got Esther Hayes.
Sorry, Esther, you're out.
Esther Hayes is not going to be making it through to our top 3 this month, I imagine. Original resident at number 5. She's probably the only of the original Corrie cast that I don't feel any kind of affection for.
I do like her. I like the way she went to an efficiency apartment.
She did, didn't she? Okay, Dennis Tanner is next. Here's a big name.
Okay,
Dennis. Absolutely love her.
Is actually probably one of my favourite characters of all time.
Yeah,
he's not just a 60s character, not just an OG, but genuinely one of my favourites. And it's sad because I don't think he's going to get anywhere in the reader.
And the listener poll.
Because
he might not do well, and that depends on who he's up against.
Yeah, but because of his return was not, I don't think...
No, but even that
I
was
wish I could
10
watch
so
it
years
again.
ago.
Wouldn't you love to watch that
I would
again?
like to watch that again. Right, they're going to be going up against Minnie Caldwell. We're getting rid of some of the originals this month.
The laughing assassin, I call her now.
Why?
Well, because I know she was a cow in real life.
Well, in the show, Minnie Caldwell was an absolute sweetheart. Cat lover, which means a lot to me as well. She had some great scenes, but I'm looking forward to talking a bit more about her in a minute. They're going to be going up against Ogden.
Love Irma.
Yeah.
If
Sandra Gough, absolute legend.
If 60s Corrie was what Corrie was now, then she would have so many fans. I bet you she would be one of the most popular characters on the internet, because she was so camp, she's so sarcastic. She had such a great look about her as well. She doesn't seem to have been remembered that well. No, in Corrie even
lore.
less than Dennis.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Ray Langton is next. Neville Buswell sadly died a couple of years ago, I think. He played... Yeah, so Ray Langton, I respect his importance. I never really got to like him, did you?
You didn't like him or Len?
No, I didn't like Len so much, but then when we went back and watched some of the older ones, Len, his sparring partner.
Is Len even left on this list?
I think we've done him. I think we've done Len.
Oh, that's interesting.
A few months ago. But yeah, Ray was his mate at the builder's yard. He just didn't really work for me. His comeback, which was recently shown on ITV3, was quite good though.
I've got to trust you because I can't see from over here.
Okay, Susie Birchall is next, one of Gail's friends. Another one that's kind of passed us by a little bit. 70s characters are still... We're not so hot on, are we?
I don't even know. I can't remember what you said.
Susie Birchall. Pay attention, darling.
I was thinking about Len Fairclough.
I thought you were thinking about Ray Langton, his lovely locks. Okay, Tracy Love is next.
Oh, Tracy.
This is our first big name of somebody who's still in the show. Very, very important in the history of the show. Massive legacy.
I remember when we first started the show that people still did not like her because of the murder, and she got away with it. Now, I wonder how many of those people still hold a grudge.
I wonder.
And what they think about her now, because, Battle wouldn't melt now, would it?
No. Oh, here's another big name. This one's surely got to get through. Audrey.
Oh, no, Audrey as
well. Roberts. Wow.
I've got my top 3 already.
And we were barely into the selection. This is going to be
Tracy,
a really
Audrey,
tough one, this one,
Dennis.
I can tell. Yeah, wow, okay. We'll say no more about Audrey. More will come up with that one later. She's going up against Kevin Webster. Hey,
goodness
Sophie, I've been picked at last. I've got cancer in my balls.
No,
wow, poor Kevin.
It's spread.
He's obviously a big name. Is he popular enough to get through? I don't know, especially considering some of the competition he's got this month.
I appreciate his importance, but he's one of these ones where I'm like, I'm happy to say pass.
Speaking of important characters, Gemma, Liz McDonald is next.
Oh, now here we go.
Whoa, okay. What an utter icon she is. Lots of people still call him for a comeback after she just kind of disappeared during COVID. But, she had... How long was she in Corrie? Like 30 years or so? And
150.
Almost synonymous with the Rover's return as well. Absolutely at home behind the bar there. Big fan. Little skirts. Okay, we'll see later on where we end up putting her. She's going up against, who have we got? Angie Freeman. Okay, another one that's going to be easy to put quite low down. Fashionista Angie Freeman in the 90s.
If you call yourself a fashion designer on Coronation Street, I honestly think it's a way for me to just ignore everything you say from then on. Because the only other one I can really think of who thinks that, Nina, who has done nothing recently, sorry, but true, and Alia, who thought that having sports bras in colours was an amazing concept.
I did not enjoy Angie Freeman in the slightest, so she's going to be languishing down the bottom of our list. But this one won't be. Leanne Battersby is our next pick.
What's she doing now?
She's going to be coming around, clip-clopping around you with her folded arms if you put her anywhere out of this top 10 at least.
Do you think that she's just sipping champagne and planning revenge still?
I think she probably is, yeah. Things have been a bit quiet on the Leanne front recently, haven't they? I'm hoping that she's going to come back in a big way soon, because she really made this January's Coronation Street for me. Next up on the list, I've got to scroll down a little bit. Dr. Matt Ramsden.
Right, boring, snoring.
Snoring. Bit of a cheater. Don't think too much of him, actually. Sleeping with Maxine while Ashley was in hospital. Terrible man. Shelley Unwin is next.
Oh, Shelley.
Gosh, I love her.
My earlobes are tingling.
Oh yeah,
that's all. That's like my big like, if I think of her, there are only a few characters where I only have one big thought. And when I think of Shelley, I just think of my earrings being ripped out. Horrible.
Charlie, that was a brilliant story.
But what a triumphant.
Yeah.
Overcoming.
Absolutely. Although I think she ended up still pregnant with his baby by the end of it, because she showed that she could stick it to him by sleeping with him again afterwards.
That's not really
obviously
feminism.
Sally Lindsay has gone on to big things. I don't think she's seen as doing so as much as maybe like Catherine Kelly, Saran Jones are, but
or Sarah Lancashire.
Oh yeah, of course. But she's really made quite a big name for herself, hasn't she?
I think you've got to be blonde to really
maybe that is the trick. Maybe that's the trick. Well, unless you're Saran Jones.
Well, I know, but that's out of the four. Only one of them is brunette.
Again, another surefire top 10 there for her. Next up, we have got Sunita Sunita Alahan.
She's in the Sainted Dead Mothers of Weatherfield Club.
She is. She's still got a shrine in number 7, hasn't she, now, watching down on them while they're having their tea, making sure that Bernie's not getting up to hanky-panky with Dev. A
design for a Dead Mothers of Weatherfield Club, but I thought people would find it in bad taste.
Oh no, it's true, isn't it? It's totally true. Sunita was, I can't remember how long she was in the show, about 10, 15 years or so. I know she had a bit of time off, but definitely sort of a big character while she was in it, and I kind of went back and forth between whether I liked her, so she might be bothering the top 10, I'm not sure. Still, we've got some pretty stiff competition here, haven't we, for this stiff to go up against. And up next, the man with two faces, it is Todd Grimshaw. Bruno Langley and Gareth Pierce, both excellent actors to play this really complex role.
He went from Scarface to Two-Face.
Yeah, totally. He's great. He's brilliant. Gareth Pierce has been a revelation. I remember we always said that it would be impossible to recast Todd after Bruno Langley had to leave the show, but he's done a really, really good job. I'm looking forward to seeing with this return for Julie Carp a little bit more screen time for him, because he gets neglected, doesn't he?
It really does. I do love Todd, but I'm sorry, but I do think of them as two separate people.
Do you? I do. I don't. I think he's done a good job. Angela Harris is next. No longer in prison, but she went there for a little bit to cover. I keep forgetting. She didn't cover for her daughter. She was sent to prison for covering for her daughter.
Yeah.
After she killed
She wasn't quite a
Tommy.
Murderous mummy.
No, I enjoyed her. She's going to be in the bottom third.
She was a nice mum, but in very bizarre circumstances.
Yeah. Okay. Who else have we got? After Angela, we have got... Oh, it's the one with the legs, Kelly Crabtree. So Pelly Dorgu, great actress. I think she could totally come back. I don't know what she would do. Hasn't really got any links on the street. But she was fun while she existed.
There are only a few characters who I think could really revitalise the factory floor, but she's one of them.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Absolutely true.
They really are just a bunch of tight, quiet little hens now, aren't they? We want a great
big mouth.
Big chook to come in.
Big mouth, big legs. I think I'd love to see her again. Yeah, she was a great character, and one of these kind of side characters who still leaves an impression, I would say. Asha Alahan is next. So we've got mother and daughter here. Asha's fab. Tanisha Gorey is such a sweetheart. Do you reckon?
Yeah, to me.
I think she's lovely. I again, getting a bit neglected at the moment while she's just doing her training for paramedic.
This is hard. I've got some controversial opinions.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait to get onto these then. Okay, so after Asha, we have got Joe McIntyre. Dead. Overboard. What a plonker that guy was, honestly. What can you say?
It's a lot of Gail's husbands who are just plonkers.
At least he still lives again in some capacity, with Rhys Dinsdale sometimes taking on the director's role in Coronation Street. So, okay, who have we got after him? We have got... Lewis Archer.
Oh no!
Lewis Archer, Gemma.
Now, I would love to put him as a top 3.
He can't get top 3, not with the competition. But
I know, the thing is, right,
fantastic.
There are so many characters who you could say, right, in a list of 30, would this be a top 3? And you'd be like, yeah, definitely. But when you actually have to compare them to somebody else, it's so much more difficult.
Lewis Archer, Nigel Havers himself was... What did I say?
Oh, he said navel.
Nigel Havers, navel gazers. Nigel Havers is an absolute legend even before Coronation Street. And to have somebody of his calibre come into the show and just suave it up for the 10 years or
it's
so,
class
on and
the
off.
joint up,
Brilliant. He really did add a touch of class to
yeah.
Coronation Street
Yeah,
alongside
it's like putting out some potpourri when you've done a poo in the bathroom.
Totally is. He's brilliant. Is he even going to be top 10 then? I don't know, but he is an excellent character. He really is cool. Right, then we have got Cal Nazir.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cal.
Sorry, you're not going to do too well, are you? I kind of liked him. Jimmy Mystery, he was a film star before he came into Coronation Street, wasn't he?
Decent. I don't think he's going to be upset.
I think he'll be happy. He'll get over being Corrieliminated. Yeah, I think so. Well, I haven't got a whole lot to say about him, so let's leave that until we get onto the sorting later. Oh, okay. Another dead un, another bad guy. We've got Callum Logan next.
Oh, now I think his spectres haunted the street more than his character ever really.
Do you think? A bit of a Richard Hillman.
I don't know.
The memory of Callum.
He kicked off a lot of stuff for the Platts, didn't he?
He certainly did. I mean, I can't remember how long he was in the show. Maybe it was only like 1 or 2 years. It wasn't, but it felt like everything revolved around him.
Yeah, it was a bit of a Lauren. Except he didn't cry as much.
He didn't cry. He was quite scowly, wasn't he? He was a little bit on the campside, which I don't think he was going for. But...
I genuinely, show me a villain on Corrie that wasn't as slightly camp. I just don't think.
Yeah, I remember.
Even Maya was a bit camp.
In the early days of the podcast, it seemed that it was all Platts all the time, and he certainly contributed to that with that great story leading up to that live episode in 2015.
Yeah, that was great. Oh, good job, everyone, on that.
Yeah. Next up, we have got another dead un, Aidan Connor. So we had Sean Ward and now Shane Ward going up against each other.
Now I think his exit story was by far the most impressive part of his character.
It came out of nowhere.
I don't think that many people would even remember his character if he just left.
I don't think so. He didn't make that big an impression.
He was, but I think that's what made his exit more impactful.
Yeah, but he's one of those ones that you don't realise that you like until they're gone.
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, he's going to be a bit middling.
Decent guy.
Decent chap, as far as I know. Right, next up we have got Nicola Rubinstein, really key character during the epic Pat Phelan saga in the second half of the 2010s.
Being told, in Blackpool, confronting Pat, that was great.
Oh, in the park.
Yeah. Still remember that.
I really, really loved Nicola's character. Scenes. Absolutely brilliant scenes. And she... It was a character who was just brought in for a particular story, and sometimes they don't make much of an impression, and she didn't need to make an impression, really. She was, in many ways, just a side character, but Nicola Thorpe, who played her, really, really brought her to life. And it was. I remember being very, very sad when the story ended and she bogged off to, where'd they go, Bristol?
I think she went to Bristol to probably fight about pushing statues of slavery people into
probably that one. I know Nicola Thorpe herself likes having a good scrap about various things online.
Very principled. Yes.
Okay, up next we have got scrolling down, Michael Bailey.
Oh,
I love Michael Bailey.
I want to give him a hug.
We've actually
got
quite a few Baileys left here.
Has he been in it this year?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe on and off. He's been in it. Maybe he's in it in this coming week after.
Maybe I'll just recruit him as a friend. I don't think he's I love him.
He's going to be going
as a character.
Bottom, isn't he?
I mean, he was part of one of the best twists in Coronation Street history.
Absolutely.
Which was that ridiculous "is neither of your child" twist, which I know people do not care about apart from us, it feels like.
I know.
But that was still one
epic.
of the moments where Coronation Street actually shocked and delighted me with its proper soapy twist.
He's going to be going up against his mum, Aggie Bailey.
Aww.
Sadly no longer in the show. Still a bit of a mystery what went on there, and I don't buy that she would have sort of dropped all ties with Ed, but hey, this is how things work sometimes on Corrie. We've never even done a character profile of her.
Oh.
I just want to believe in my heart that one day she'll come back to Coronation Street, but I don't think it's going to happen. She was a really lovely, maternal, loving, empathetic presence on the street, and
an eccentric chef.
An eccentric chef as well. She's ace, but she's going to be in the bottom half of the list considering the competition this month. Sadly, Nina Lucas is next. Speaking of fashion designers.
Speaking of people who have not really done much recently.
No, seems like she was brought in for the Seb Attack storyline and then they didn't really have any ideas afterwards.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I remember her doing.
She's inspired Ashley to be a paramedic.
Was that like 2 years ago?
Yeah,
in
it was.
January?
It was 2 years ago,
She fell in a pond, and I don't think she's ever recovered.
I love the relationship that she has with Roy, but it's clear that they just do not know what on earth to do with that character, which is a shame. And Molly Gallagher is an absolute sweetheart as well. I really, really got time for her. And finally, the last name on our list this month is going to be Grace Vickers. Speaking of that twist with Michael Bailey.
Oh, what? Grace versus Michael?
Yeah.
I think he'll be happy to know who might get slightly higher.
I think he is going to go higher than Grace Vickers. I think it's a bit
her.
Controversial that Grace has even got onto our top 300, but we quite liked her, didn't we? Actually.
Well, I like a minxy villain.
Yeah. She was holding the Baileys to ransom as well, wasn't she, for a little bit? Well, there we go. There's our 30 for this month. If you've been watching on YouTube, scrolling down our list, you'll have seen who next month's selections are. Or maybe you've just got a really good memory. I don't know. I can't remember.
Maybe you've been subtracting from your original mental list.
Maybe. Are you ready to get Corrieliminating? Let's do it.
Yes.
It is time for Corrielimination.
Yes.
Stop interrupting me. I'm trying to segue onto the next segment. It's Corrielimination time. Okay, right, so got my pictures lined up. This is going to be tricky. Let's, as always, start this by sorting into some definite kind of top ends, bottom ends. Gemma, where do you want to go with this? Do you want to shove anyone any particular end to kick things off?
Right. Okay, I think you're not a big fan of Esther Hayes, even though I
Esther Hayes
quite liked her.
I just she's just a dud. Sorry, Esther Hayes
of
the original cast. She had very little to do. She was kind of a supportive neighbour sort of role, wasn't she?
I liked her. She was a sensible middle-aged woman who was always there for people to, clean on.
She didn't have a family, did she?
No.
She lived at number 5, which is where Chesney is now. And she was there that people could kind of turn to if they needed a bit of matronly advice. Yeah. But I can't think of anything at all, literally nothing at all that she did that excites me from the episodes that I've seen of her.
She moved into an efficiency apartment.
She moved away from the street for a bit so Minnie Caldwell could come in. Much better character. She's going to be going higher today. Then she moved away from it. Came back. Do you remember they did that Annie Walker This Is Your Life episode at some point in the 60s? And Esther's like, hello, look, I'm back for this. And
I didn't remember that Minnie Caldwell actually lived on the street, because I think in the episodes I saw, she lived like somewhere else.
No, the ones that we're watching at the moment, she's moved into the street. The ones that we've seen, because we're kind of looking. I just
remember the DVD ones, and I don't remember her moving.
Minnie was 100% number 5, and then with Jed Stone. But anyway, that's by the by. Esther Hayes, I to me, is going to be going kind of languishing around here somewhere. Really? Maybe around kind of the low 20s. I'm thinking.
Well, okay. So can we?
Let's do some definites.
What do you mean definite?
Definite highs, definite lows, because she's maybe... I would say that Esther was a bit of a definite low, but you seem to be arguing for her higher.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I thought you'd put her at number 30 and I'd have to argue her up.
Oh, well, no, I'll happily move her down if you want to, but I know that there's a few other rough ones there as well.
Rough? How dare you? So, fashion designer...
Nina?
No.
Angie Freeman. We got 2 of them this month. Angie Freeman... tell me what you know about Angie Freeman.
I feel... Right, okay, so the only thing I know about Angie Freeman is watching the DVD episodes.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe how long she lasted. Because I think she was still in the 80s.
No. I think she came in the early 90s. She was in for the bit in the early 90s. Then she went away. Then she came back.
Really?
She was part of... Yeah, she came back when Stephen Reed actually was in one of his stints on the street. When they had the whole Kay Beck coming from Canada to the UK, Mike Baldwin counterfeiting his designs. Angie Freeman was... I can't remember whether she was working with a factory or Kay Beck side, to be honest.
But in the 90s. I thought she started... way before then, and then
she must have made about
until 1998. I thought she was in it for years.
I felt. Well, how many episodes was she there? Like 300, 400 or so in total? Oh, you got a Corripedia page up, have you? Yeah, and
wow, I genuinely, if you give me a quiz and you said when did she start and when did she end, I would have said She was in it in the 70s and she lasted to the 80s. I don't know how, but no, she was only in it for 10 years.
Yeah, and I bet you couldn't have told me anything that she did in that time either.
She was a fashion designer.
She
faffed around with some stuff with a float.
She faffed. Oh, she did. Yeah, wasn't she? She was involved in the Better Buys float, wasn't she? When Reg was Bacchus, god of wine. I think that she designed that, and she thought that, and then Reg was saying, "Oh, you said you'd do it me for a favour." She was definitely a bit no nonsense, which is refreshing.
Do you want to know an interesting fact?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. She's got a page up.
Set up Underworld in partnership with Mike.
She is an originator of Underworld. Well, there we go. Her legacy still lives on, but it's not going to count very much for me, I'm going to say.
She went to Mexico to study Aztec design.
Okay. We don't need to just be reading out Corrieliminator, but that's still an interesting fact. I think that she maybe had a little fling with Curly at some point, but I'm going to say
just that... Put her at 30?
But no, not necessarily. I'm going to say that in an era where, the mid-90s was when I started watching, and for me, I got my rose-tinted glasses on and everything, but I still look back on that era and say every single character was a bona fide classic, except Angie Freeman. Angie
Freeman wasn't fabulous.
So she tried to be fabulous with her fabulous fashion, and she had great, floppy hats and everything. She was chic, but as a character, and I know that other people really did enjoy her. And I think I don't know, among the people who watched at the time, I might be a bit.
I probably would have really liked her if I was watching it, at the time live.
I think that if she didn't have such iconic peers on the cast, she might have stood out more. But
better.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as top 10s go, I think we've got more than 10.
Do you reckon? Go on, give me some names. Throw some out.
Throw some across. We've got. Dennis
Tanner, 100%. He is going to be top 10, if not top 5 material. Minnie Caldwell, you think? Okay. We love Minnie Caldwell, but I don't know how much it's... Well, okay, maybe. Irma.
Yep, she's next.
What? Where is she? Where is her? Do you think? Do you reckon?
Michael.
Okay, fine. I'm not putting her in any particular order. I'm just...
Tracy.
For the Tracy, yeah.
Audrey.
Guaranteed. Audrey, 100%. Kevin. Yeah, Kevin is up there.
Leanne.
Yeah. You've not missed Liz out on purpose there.
No, Liz. I didn't.
Liz is there.
I thought it was a spaniel.
With some of these characters that have been in it for a long time, those people watching on YouTube, I was like, sometimes really hard to decide which era to pick. But Liz, just for the laugh, I've gone for
top 10.
The 80s, 90s perm.
Without counting to 10.
Todd, right, hang on a minute. Where's Todd? This was another obvious conundrum for us. Do I go for the Bruno Todd or the Gareth Todd? We went for the Gareth Todd on the YouTube in the end. Yeah, I could picture him in the top 10. I don't think Asher makes it into the top 10 for me.
Lewis.
Hang on a minute. Crikey O'Reilly, wait a second. So we got Lewis. We got Asher. Where's Asher? It's because I haven't got with the glasses on in this picture. Yeah, there's a lot there, aren't there? I think
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
So we got
That's mine done. So my top 10 is
11 people.
Tracy, Audrey, Leanne, Todd, Asher, Liz, Dennis, Kevin, Lewis, Irma, and Minnie.
I'm gonna throw up for debate in there.
Shelley up.
And I'm going to put in Sunita in there as well.
I'm not going to
both strong characters, but some of them are going to have to edge some other ones out into the teens.
Would you say that those are early 2000s characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this is when I was only watching it to impress you.
Oh, thanks.
I'd say. And also to see what Richard Hillman got up to. And my girl Gina, see what she's
obviously,
doing.
Sunita came back, and when she died, 2013, I think. So she was still in it in the podcast
listening,
era.
Don't talk about it.
Right. Okay, on the other half then, down the bottom end, we're going to have... I think Grace Vickers is surely going to be languishing in the bottom 5 there, isn't she? She's lucky to make it into the top 300, to be fair. As much as I liked the character,
Grace
I know that she's not significant in the grand scheme of things.
She didn't rub me up the wrong way because I enjoy chaos. So from that point of view, she definitely, I have a soft spot for her. I'll tell you who I find very boring, and that's Cal.
Cal... Yeah. I think probably more significant than Grace.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was a squandering of talent.
Yeah, he was a bit, wasn't he? I'm going to say that maybe... I think that maybe, like... Ray Langton's probably got to go in the middle.
I do like Ray Langton.
Do you?
Yeah. Who do you like more out of Ray and Len?
Len, for sure.
Okay.
No question. Sure yeah, I think Angela is going to go towards the bottom, isn't she?
No.
She could have had potential, but she was in the show for a few years.
Oh my god, Dr. Matt.
Oh god, my gosh, Dr. Matt. Yeah,
right,
sorry,
30.
Dr. Matt.
He should be 30.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, boring man.
Yeah, but I think Dr. Matt's got more significance than Angie Freeman. And even Grace Vickers.
Angie Freeman named Underworld, or I don't know if she named it.
It's Matt Hillman.
No.
Spawned. Matt Hillman, where did I get that from? Matt Bramsden spawned Joshua. He was,
and where's Joshua now?
France or something, I don't know.
Dead, for all we know.
It could be. I think that probably, just throwing a few others out there.
Hang on, are we going to address the elephant in the room here?
The elephant in the room is still Trisha Hopkins and Susie Birchall, who...
Let's be fair to ourselves, okay? They were basically interchangeable.
They are in my head, and it's really bad they are.
Right, is this not right? Trisha Hopkins left with her family, so then they brought in Susie Birchall to replace her.
No, I think that Trisha Hopkins came first. Yeah, but I think Trisha Hopkins... I really don't remember.
Basically, they were both pals of Gales.
They were pals of Gales. I literally, before we started recording this, put into ChatGPT, what's the difference between Susie Birchall and Trisha Hopkins? And, we've been doing this podcast a long time. And I think it's still pretty good on us that we can take 300 characters and say a fair bit about all of them. But they are the biggest blind spots in my Corrie vision of actually semi-significant characters. We just have not seen enough of that era.
Do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to give us a round of applause for being brave enough to say that we don't...
We're not going to try and blag it.
The difference between the two of them. And I know that some people are going to get annoyed, but... Everyone's got, a blind spot.
I know that Susie Birchall dropped a brick down a chimney, didn't she? She dropped a brick down Elsie's chimney and soot went all over the lounge.
Well, when were they in it?
70s, left early 80s. I think you're the one with the phone there.
No, you told
Trisha,
me.
Both of them did a little bit of tandeming, I think, with Gail.
I know.
So Trisha was from the Hopkins family.
Yeah.
That's Kathy Jones, I think, isn't it, who played her?
No, we did actually see her in real life.
We did see her in real life once. Does that kind of put her a bit higher for us?
I don't want to disparage either of these actresses or these characters. And when we're saying I don't know the difference,
it's really bad.
It's not. I want you to realise that I can totally consider it to be a failing that I don't know the difference.
We'll get to the 70s eventually, won't we?
About how stupid I am. I literally don't know the difference because it's not like a big. And I know that some people listening definitely big fans of the 70s.
I think 70s Street fan. I know you're listening.
Yes.
You could tell us about who to vote for there, but you're not here right now.
I wish you would say which one you think should be higher than the other.
I think Susie Birchall I think she ended up having it off or trying to have an affair with, I'm going to say Brian maybe at some point.
Brian who?
Brian Tilsley.
Oh, I was like, what?
Brian, I think that Susie was a bit more of a minx and left as a bit more of an unlikable character. So she was
even
like...
this picture... Honestly, are you sure these are two different women?
Definitely.
So she looks like one of them's. It's the same lady with red hair.
Susie was blonde at one point. I think when she came back, she was like bleach blonde. But she was living with Elsie and Gail in number 11 for a bit. I don't look. In our Corripedia rankings, do these two go at the very bottom because we just don't know enough about them, or do we acknowledge their importance to the show and just our failings, and it puts them a bit higher? I don't know.
When I say I don't know much about them and they're interchangeable, I still have an impression of like fun and kind of like
I do as well.
Like who's the Miss Lostock? What's her name?
Doreen Lostock.
Lostock. Okay. I feel like a bit like they are spiritual successors to her.
Yeah, I know what you mean, actually.
I think
kind of dolly birds.
Yeah, fun, lively, young, youthful, bubbly, funny, bright women.
Oh, I've just had a brainwave. I've had a brainwave. Trisha Hopkins definitely came first because when we did the Gail retrospective the other month, Gail's first scene was sitting on a bench in that gap where number 7 is, with Trisha Hopkins.
Or was it Susie Birchall?
No, it was definitely Trisha Hopkins.
So that I was right then. The Hopkins left.
Yeah, and then Susie Birchall came along.
Now
the Hopkins left, but because they did.
We're talking about these two characters
far too long.
For a lot of time for two people that don't know what they're talking about.
I haven't got a clue. They left after dropping the bombshell about Betty and Gordon, didn't they, in that parentage mystery?
The Hopkins
but Trisha stayed.
Yeah.
Because Gail still needed a friend, she'd be lonely. And then she went after a bit, and then look, where are we putting them?
Who have we got?
Are you still wanting to have
Dr.
Dr. Matt at number 30?
We've got who?
Then we got old what's her face? Angie Freeman.
And then we've got
we got Grace Vickers.
Oh, Grace.
Grace cannot. Grace can't go higher than.
No, Cal's next.
But I think that maybe Angela.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
But does Angela above Cal? What did Cal do?
Yeah, no, Cal's boring.
He was boring. He was maybe a bit more significant.
Jimmy Mystery, again, just please remember this is not a reflection of the actors, because there are very few people, with notable exceptions, that I think were just hired for any reason other than the fact they were good at acting.
Naming no names.
But Jimmy Mystery, very talented, movie, like we said previously.
Yeah. He's the guru.
I just don't want to upset anybody. I'm just saying the character, it was... And so I'm also going to say, sometimes you need people that are a bit boring. Yeah. And I think the most exciting thing he ever did was get blown up. But anyone can get blown up.
Yeah, but I think he...
No.
Oh, I like Angela more. I do like Angela more. She was just a kind of a bullshit. She wasn't bullshit in the same way as like Karen or Janice in The Factory, but she knew her own mind and she stood up for herself and she stood up for Hayley sometimes. And I just loved that story towards the end after Tommy had got clobbered and then Angela walks in and sees Katie there with the wrench and then the whole covering up thing. She was absolutely superb in those scenes where she was wrestling with the fact that her daughter killed her husband. And it sounds a bit modern Corrie, really, doesn't it? It sounds very 2025. She was ace.
Right, so hang on. Okay, so I think it's quite good that I can't see this because other people are listening cannot see this.
You can see it slightly.
So Dr. Matt is the last.
Dr.
Then
Matt,
we've got Angie
then
Freeman.
Angie,
then we've got Grace.
But I think Grace should be lower. Yeah. And then we got Angela.
Okay, I think maybe Grace should be lower than Angie Freeman. But Dr. Matt is just lame.
Angie Freeman was a recurring, important character.
Grace.
Regular character, whereas Grace she came in as Michael.
I did like her.
Obviously, the story with what was the kid called? Tiana, was it?
I don't recall.
And when Michael Bailey sees her in the car park and he's like, oh my gosh, that's my daughter, and that whole spiraled out into their romance and then her basically keeping the Bailey family emotionally hostage and then getting money off of them, and Michael had no idea that she was secretly evil. I enjoyed that, but she's not going in the Corrie history book, sadly, is she? But then is Angie? I don't know. I think that Angie stayed the course for longer,
right.
so she should be in at a higher. Matt, Grace, Angie, Cal, and then Angela.
Right.
Okay,
so now we've got Esther Hayes, and we've got Trisha Hopkins, and we've got...
Looking at Susie Birchall, looking at the characters that are left, and I'm sorry because I know that we also have got the likes of Michael Bailey, who's not mega important, I'm gonna say.
No, don't say
important.
Wow.
Well, no, still he's I suppose he's been in the show 6 years.
I know, but he's had so few. I wonder.
So
I'm just going to quickly. I know, but if you listen
if
to
it was
our
me,
podcast, you know that I really like Michael Bailey.
If it was me, I'd put Esther next because I've seen a fair bit of her and I know she's boring. But I might be giving Trisha and Susie the benefit of the doubt and put them higher because I haven't really seen a whole lot of them. And they may be brilliant.
Right, so...
What have you found out?
Angela Freeman was... What did we say?
Angie Freeman, 350 odd episodes.
Oh, I've just written your name in.
No, I am not. I am not one of the Bailey family. No.
And Michael Bailey
live
has been
googling
in
here
459 episodes, so only 100 more than Angie Freeman. I'm going to say honestly, I don't think they've used his time wisely.
Can I put Michael here at 22 above Trisha Hopkins?
Right, hang on. So you've put Esther Hayes, and then you've got
Susie
Birchall, and then you've got Trisha.
Because I think Trisha's got a nicer smile, and she came first.
That's funny.
I do, and she and as far as I remember, as far as I know, she didn't try to seduce anyone's other half, which is naughty.
So we've got another Bailey here. We've got Aggie, and we've got Michael.
Aggie's great. I love Aggie.
So we've got to. Are you happy to put Michael lower than Aggie?
Oh, 100%. I'd put Michael lower than Aggie.
I do love the Baileys. It's just.
I think.
I've got a soft spot for them.
I've got a real soft spot for the Baileys. I'd put them higher if I could. My personal taste. And we got Ray Langton here in the middle, who I just don't get on with at all particularly. I like Michael and Aggie definitely better than both of them. But I understand his significance to Corrie history.
Here's a crucial point. Okay. if we were putting this in the ranking as to how much we'd like to see people appear,
yes,
or what stories we'd like them to have, or how much screen time, this might be very different, because I'd love Michael to get more screen time, but no, he's not.
We've also got, we haven't talked about Kelly.
I love Kelly Crabtree.
Callum. Even Joe McIntyre here.
Right, Joe McIntyre.
And Nicola, who is... I really loved Nicola when she was on the show, didn't we?
Can I say something controversial about those two characters, Joe and Nicola?
Yeah.
One-trick ponies, aren't they?
What do you mean?
I think that they're both in for a story, weren't they? I mean, Joe McIntyre was, in for a year and then
year or two.
Died, and same with Nicola. Like, they were both involved. What?
She was brought in to facilitate the Phelan storyline, and having him uncover his long lost daughter was a masterstroke. But Nicola Thorpe just took that role, and she was excellent with it. She was an example of someone being brought in for a side story and being like, wow, this is a great character. She's smart. You know, Phelan was pulling the wool over everyone's eyes on the street, but Nicola saw right through him. And I loved the work that she did with Seb, because she was his caseworker, social worker, or what have you. And yeah, one of the few people who could stand up to her dad. I was really impressed. I was gutted that at the end.
As Ray.
I think in significance, Corrie history, clearly not.
Okay, people that are left on the board. We've got Kelly, Callum, Nicola, Joe, Aidan, Aggie and Nina. And I think
Aidan should be kind of going up there.
You don't like Ray, but Ray is more important than all of those characters.
I know he is. Right, can we put
Tracy's
maybe...
dad, everybody.
I know, of course. Can we put, like... I'm thinking, like, maybe Callum?
No, Joe.
After Michael? Joe. Why is Joe less significant than Callum in your eyes?
That's an interesting point, actually, because they both were in it for a slim amount of time, and I feel like they only ever had one story each. You know, Joe had his descent into addiction.
Both ended in a bit of a whoddunit, didn't they?
And then, addiction.
Did it himself.
To pain medication.
Yeah.
Shut up, you.
Well, he did.
And then he fell in the water.
Yeah.
And then you've got Callum, who was murdered in the live episode. Now, does that make him more important? I think it does. I think it makes Callum more important. And also, you know, Tina's gone.
But you might argue that Joe is one of Gail's husbands, and that makes him more important.
Gail's got so many husbands.
I know he's possibly the least important husband.
He is.
Sorry, Jesse. I mean, apart from
Michael,
Jesse.
Does that not make him lower down on the ranking to know that he's her worst husband of Gail?
I really can't put Callum that much higher. So are you reckoning maybe like Callum at 20 here?
Yeah.
And then Joe at 21?
Joe's just slightly worse because Callum had a live episode. And he's still got living children on the street. And he has
Who does? Callum?
Yeah.
Well, he's off in prison now, isn't he, old Max?
At the moment, Max is a character in the show.
Oh, no. Max. Was Callum Max's dad? He was, wasn't he? Yeah. Oh, and then you got Harry. Yeah, Harry is definitely living on the street.
See?
You're right. I'm wrong.
I know about everything. And he also, really, that story was a massive turning point for the Platts.
Yeah.
And
it lasted years, didn't it?
And still, some people don't know the secret. I don't think anyone cares anymore.
No, it's all been pinned on Tony Stewart, hasn't it? Callum's murder, and we know that it was Kylie Watt done it. And
so I'm quite happy to put him there. But now we've got all these lovely ladies full of potential. And Nicola's not going to ever do anything again. Aggie, I don't know.
I don't know. Nicola could come back again. Gary's still there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
She's got an absolute link to the street. I don't know whether Nicola Thorpe would be interested in coming back to Coronation Street. She's
got a child with Gary.
Very busy airing her views on various platforms.
You said that already.
But yeah, she.
Oh, right, so who she worked right? So out of these four, we've got Kelly, Nicola, Aggie, and Nina.
I'm thinking in terms of overall significance.
But
I don't know whether it's Kelly or whether it's a bit recency bias.
These
they are really all
very, very similar as far as they're I'm gonna be harsh and say the contributions to the street have been middling at best.
Yeah, Kelly was her intro story was, I've been working at Underworld for all this time and today's my last day, and then everyone convinces her to stay, and she had
these four, she's the most fun.
I love Nina, might say that,
but can we deny Nina has been off the boil for 2 years now?
She's been super off the boil. It's not her fault. I think the writers just not really know what to do with her. You
can't deny it.
But I really love the idea of Nina's character. I think that, sadly, a bit like Yasmin in a way, since the beating storyline and that kind of petered out, they've just kind of put her out to pasture a little bit, haven't they? And she doesn't have that kind of bold goth look anymore as quite so much. I know that she took it off completely for a while, didn't she? But
I'm gonna say, of these three, I think that maybe Aggie had a big story with Ed and the affair, but it wasn't her story.
What affair?
With the affair with Ronnie and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, there was a bit of a story about the fact that, yeah.
But Nina had that huge, amazing, wonderful story with Seb.
I think that Nina probably is,
compared
more significant. I mean, to be fair, people are going to be still screaming that the likes of Trisha and Susie should be way higher than these. But this is our, also, we've got to put in our personal opinions.
I know, I think try to be fair, but we've got to be honest.
Which character do you like more out of Aggie and Nina? I'd rather share a cup of tea with Aggie, I might say.
I'd like them both equally. I think they're both decent. Do you know what? I think they've got very similar personalities. I think they're both very bold and they stand up for their families and they want to make friends.
Very loyal.
Yeah, they're loyal. I think they're very wise and emotionally intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's difficult because Aggie's obviously further along in her life than Nina is.
I found that Nina has been a bit flip-floppy in her relationships. Like, she kissed Ardy last year. She's on again, off again with Asher.
She's a modern gal.
She is just a modern girl. She has that lovely relationship with Roy, but
her lasting contribution to the street is making spoons. And those spoons, I haven't seen them for a while.
Are the spoons
but Aggie, what has she done? Buggered off to live with Auntie Corona.
I wish that Aggie could be in it more, but she didn't have much screen time.
Michael,
I'm thinking Aggie at 19, Nina at 18, unless we're going to shove Kelly or Nicola in underneath them. Why do you think
that Nicola is higher than Aggie and
No,
Nina?
Maybe you're right, maybe I don't. So maybe if we put Nina at 16, Aggie at 17, and then underneath them, who's more important out of Kelly and Nicola?
Nicola goes second.
Yeah, because Kelly to me feels like she was a main character for a while, although she was kind of a side main character. I think that the relationship with Lloyd that she had helped thrust her into the limelight for a little bit, but she was one of these characters, she was a bit like if you were to take Ida Clough or Bobby Lewis or one of these other side factory girls and say, oh, let's actually give you a story for a while. But it lasted for a bit longer with Kelly. She was an awful lot of fun. And I think probably just puts her over Nicola, although I think at the time I enjoyed watching Nicola more than I enjoyed watching Kelly, but maybe Kelly's significance just pips her a little bit.
Can I just say, from my perspective here, Corrie, challenge for the future, give us a black character that we can put in the top 3, because it is killing me that there are not any significant black characters in the history of Coronation Street.
Yeah.
And I understand the demographics, but it really hurts me to put all of these wonderful black women and men so low on this list because they didn't, do much in the time. And all of these are really talented actors, and I find them almost universally charismatic and fun to watch, but the stories just aren't there. And the legacy isn't there because, Kelly, I can't even remember when she was in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then she wasn't in it for very long, but she was so much fun. I did love her.
She was fun. She was fun.
Great.
I just remembered something that I was supposed to say at the beginning of this recording. When we picked the names... Sorry, I don't know how far into this we are now. When we picked the names, I forgot to actually read out... I can't remember whether I said Trisha or Susie, but I only mentioned one of them. The fact that they were both picked and I only read out one of them, that just kind of shows how close they were together. But
I don't remember if you said...
For anyone who's wondering how did that other one sneak in there, Yeah, that was my fault. I just forgot to say them. So I only announced 29 earlier.
Sorry.
Okay, so we seem to have our bottom.
We've got everyone on the board now.
We've got number 30. We've got Matt Ramsden. 29, Grace Vickers. I don't know whether they should be the other way around. Are you content with Matt at 30 and Grace at 29?
Right, okay. Another controversial thing. Matt is the very definition of white male mediocrity. He's got to be at the last. What did he do? Get a medical degree and just be dull? Anyone can do that. I've got friends that did that.
He was better than the other Dr. Matt. What was he? Matt Carter.
Exactly. He's not even the only Dr. Matt in the show.
Okay, we got Angie Freeman at number 28. We got Cal at 27. Angela Harris at 26. We got Esther Hayes 25. Then we got Susie Birchall, Trisha Hopkins, Michael Bailey, Joe McIntyre. Then 20 we got Callum. Then we got 19 Nicola. We got then Kelly, Aggie, and Nina. That's feeling kind of all right, but I can hear dissent from the listeners.
I
but
don't feel
it's
like
our list. You go vote in the listener poll.
I'm not itching to change any of those.
Okay.
Right, tell me
we need 5 now that aren't going to make it into the top 10, and we have got
read us the next 15.
Right.
These are all good characters.
So, what I'm thinking, because I can see this better than you, where I'm positioned, in the 15 to 11 position, in no particular order, I'm thinking Ray. I'm thinking Asher. I'm thinking
painful.
It's really painful. This is a really tough.
I love Asher.
I'm thinking Irma.
You put in Asher and Irma.
I'm thinking Aidan. And I'm thinking...
No, don't put...
I am thinking...
Leave Minnie alone.
I know, I'm looking at Minnie Caldwell and thinking, I absolutely adore her. Has you been partly forgotten to time?
Who's that under Shelley?
Sunita. This is so tough.
Right.
So
hang
tough.
On. No, just name me all the remaining characters.
So you got Tracy, Audrey, Leanne, Dennis, Kevin, Liz, Todd, Lewis, Shelley, Minnie. And then I'm just suggesting for this next 5, Ray, Asher, Irma, Aidan, Sunita. Is there anyone in that top list there that you think need to be swapped out?
Right, okay. I think I said this already, controversially, and not massessively fussed on Shelley.
That is controversial.
But I'm not going to argue it because
Very
I know
much
she's
so.
super popular. And I don't recall watching that story. I know it's really, I can feel the emotion and
we
vibes.
certainly watched it.
I can feel the vibes. I know they're good. It just hurts me because I love Asher, I love Irma, and I love Minnie.
It feels like Shelley's done more to prove herself than Asher at the moment.
Man, you're
but
right,
only because Asher's had little tastes of big stories, hasn't she? Like the skin lightening storyline. She was partly involved in the Corey kind of saga.
I love Asher.
I really, really, really love Asher, and I think
you're right. I think everyone's going to say that if you're going to compare Shelley and Asher, Shelley's got to go above.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And
what about Irma? I know we love her.
Can we put Sunita at number 15? No, Aidan.
Can't we put Ray Langton there? I just really don't enjoy him in the slightest. I look at all of the characters remaining and I get some kind of positive, emotional, more or less reaction to him. And Ray, I'm just like...
I like Ray because I know if I called him up and said, Ray, my decking needs doing, he'd come and do it.
A blooming useless husband doesn't got a clue. Doesn't know one end of a hammer from the other.
Okay. No, but Aidan's worse than Ray. Look, Aidan's exit storyline was one of the best storylines that they've ever done. And it was incredible. Really well done. I can't believe the planning that went into it. Shane Ward, fantastic performance. The whole thing, harrowing, brilliant. A real brave decision, a risk that Kate Oates took, and it paid off, I think. But as far as characters go, he left me cold.
He was a bit of a dullard, wasn't he?
He was very boring.
I really enjoyed the scene where he goes to visit Eva in a hideaway cottage and they have a little dance. That was part of the exit story, wasn't it?
And it was so beautifully done. It was just one of Corrie's most tragic stories. But the character himself was just a boring
hunky businessman.
Yeah. So can we put him...
You want him at 15?
I want him at 15 and then Ray can go next, and that's our compromise.
Okay, that's our compromise. So Aidan at 15, Ray Langton at 14. I will say that I've really very much enjoyed just recently seeing on ITV3 Ray's comeback story, which we watched originally at the time, back in, when was it, 2004, 2005, when he comes in and he's an old man, he's dying, he dies in the Rovers, and I really felt for him then, and the rekindling of the relationship with Tracy, the daughter that he abandoned 20 years previously.
It's
I
really
really enjoyed and seeing Ken, like, you know, he won in a way, but it was obviously a very bittersweet victory in the same way when Mike died. But yeah, he leaves me cold.
When I think of Ray, I think of him as a young man, and it is kind of sad when you watch those early episodes to imagine that he will end up dying in the Rovers, kind of a kind of broken man, really.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He totally was. Yeah. Moved to Holland, went to Las Vegas for a bit. Canonically, I don't know.
I love Holland.
Okay, right. So
Asher versus Irma versus Minnie versus Sunita.
Yeah, I think probably they're our next lot.
Okay. Of these 4 women, Sunita...
Who sparks joy, Gemma?
Sunita, Minnie, Irma and Asher.
Yeah.
Sunita is the one that I reject.
Did you reject Sunita?
Yeah.
I found that Sunita, she was quite fun when she came in, and she was running away from the arranged marriage that her family were trying to do for her. And I felt like the more she stayed in the street, the more she matured and did get a little bit more, I don't want to say dull, but for lack of a better word, she lost some of that spark. I did enjoy the relationship with Dev. I was on her side when she was kicking Dev out, because he was, you know, when she finds out about all his past relationships that he kept from her.
I know, but my problem is I'm more of a Maya girl. I would have tied her to a cooker and blown her up.
If I had the choice to save one between Sunita and Maya Sharma, I think I might go for Maya just for the for the laughs.
Excitement.
Yeah. I don't mind the decision of putting Sunita next. I recognise her importance, but she doesn't, as I say, spark joy as much as the other ones do.
Marie Kondo all of a sudden?
I just think it's a good turn of phrase to use.
It is a good way to work out how you're going to pick.
Yeah.
Right, so we've only got one more space outside the top 10.
Yeah.
And we've got to pick between Minnie,
Caldwell, and Irma. I mean, are we definitely confident that the ones that are left?
Tracy, Audrey, Leanne, Todd.
Well, I'm looking at Todd and I'm looking at Gareth Pierce's Todd there, and I'm thinking, oh no, maybe he shouldn't be top 10. But then I've got to think. Oh yeah, I know. I do think.
I think Lewis goes at number 11.
I don't. I think that Lewis and Irma. I don't know. I can't remember how long Irma was in the show. You just want
to put Minnie on number 11.
I don't.
Yes, you do. You do, because you're saying the only people we've got left. We're now considering Minnie, Irma, and Lewis for number 11.
Lewis was just a fun character all the way through, and he was very different for Coronation Street.
Yeah,
his like suave
this is
con
too
man.
Hard. I can't do that.
When he dumps Gail with his video and his perfect Bellini and the Italian for Lovers, when he was pretending to be his own brother when Gail finds him out in a power walking country day trip with Audrey, when he everything about Lewis, and it was gutting that they killed him off. They should not have killed off Lewis Archer. It wasn't worth it.
There are very few.
But I would say that.
Can I just say there are very few good deaths on Coronation Street where you feel like it was worth it, but really,
I think that Irma is remembered less.
I know, but it's sad. I think we need to correct people's.
Let's just see how it feels to put Lewis at 11.
Yes.
Irma at 10.
So why you were trying to
Minnie
put
at
Minnie?
9.
You were trying to put Minnie in 11. Now you're putting her at 9.
No, it wasn't necessarily. You were telling me I was trying to put Minnie in at 11.
Don't put Minnie in the corner. I think that Minnie is more significant than Irma.
Yeah.
Although.
And Lewis.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I love Irma so much. I really wish that people knew more about Irma.
Do you want to kind of give your pitch for Irma because there probably are people that are listening to this and thinking,
when we were going through the characters, but she's sarcastic, funny. Had such a dry sense of humour.
I love the episode when she was pretending to be French.
Yeah, her love affair with David was fantastic.
Yeah, they were such a lovely couple. Oh my gosh,
and also
the scene where they go out to the countryside, to the Blue John Mines, and there's engaged. The proposal, the engagement. That was the sweetest thing.
And the fact that she is Stan and Hilda's daughter, I think people don't even remember they even had kids.
Yeah, you're right.
But she was so vivacious, fantastic accent.
Yeah,
really great before. Like
she was taken from us before our time. Although, of course, Sandra Gough did choose to leave.
She did go.
She did. Yeah. The story there for anyone that doesn't know is that she had some various things going on outside of work.
She had some drama.
She had some family drama. It sounds like. And she just decided not to turn up at work one day
because she's saying that come in,
yeah.
And they were like, "No, we need you," and she was like, "Well, I'm."
They were basically saying that Corrie wasn't accommodating her personal needs.
Yeah, which is really sad. Which is
it's super sad. I would give anything for Irma to come back because Sandra Gough is still alive. I don't know how she's doing at the moment.
I don't know if she's quite as sarcastic as she used to be. Maybe she's more sarcastic.
I don't know. It was funny because she was a talking head in one or two of the Corrie Years documentaries about 10 years ago. Yeah, but it was when they were talking about controversial exits, and she came back and revealed what happened.
I love her.
Yeah, but Minnie, I think, because she is more well remembered as one of the snug trio, and I think she's probably the second most remembered because Martha Longhurst died. Talking about characters gone before their time, she was killed off very early on in the show, wasn't she? And Minnie kept on going as Ina's sidekick, but where you had Martha was able to stand up to Ina a little bit more. Minnie just kind of went along with things, didn't she? But she had that little glint of mischief. And she was a bit like, later how Hilda was when she had her malapropisms. I don't think that was particularly a thing for Minnie, but she came across as kind of simple, didn't she? In a really, really sweet way.
She had depth to that character. And
she did.
Would adopt strays, whether they were cats or men.
Yeah. When she took in Jed Stone, and because he was very easily able to say, "Oh, I got nowhere to live, me. I don't know where I can go then." And Minnie's like, "Oh, you come in with me, my lovey."
My favourite memory of her was when they were standing outside.
Yeah, it was Dennis's wedding, wasn't it?
And she throws the confetti, and there's a sign that says no confetti, and I can't remember what she said.
She says, "I just wanted to," or something along those lines.
What
She was absolutely smashing, and a character that we knew really nothing about before we went back and watched those DVD episodes, and as a where have you been all my life moment with her, and we've still got plenty of that era to watch, and I look forward to seeing more and more of her. Same with Irma when we eventually get onto the 70s or the 60s, I guess. I can't wait to see more regular Irma. Sadly, a lot of those episodes are not available to watch, but okay. So,
who's robbing us of the joy of Irma?
Do you want to?
This is hard because we've got Tracy, Audrey, Leanne, Todd, Shelley, Liz, Dennis, and Kevin.
Have you got any top 3 contenders here?
Dennis has to be in the top 3.
Okay, I'm not going to say no to that. As much as that is personal preference over everything, because he.
Nobody. If you got somebody to name 100 Coronation Street characters now, I don't think the vast majority of people would even remember he was in it, which is so sad. Even though he came back, they ran him over. His urn was run over in the 10,000th episode.
Tragedy. That's a tragedy.
But he was just, Philip Lowry, who played him. He got on so well with Pat Phoenix. They fell out when he left.
He was fun.
The mother and daughter relationship that they played, and he was, he was just so funny and camp and
the
lively.
campness was brilliant.
And the fact that he was always a chancer. He was one of these entrepreneurs at Corrie that I don't think they do very well anymore, because Corrie was also always
he was like a harebrained scheme kind of guy, wasn't he? Before Eddie Yates came along.
Corrie was always about working class people, which I don't think they remember, but also about them trying to improve their status.
Yeah.
And he was always out for he always had an eye out for the next big thing, which is why I was so excited about when Michael came in the show, Michael Bailey, because he was an inventor. Does anyone remember this? Do you remember his applause app that he came up with? He was a fun entrepreneurial character.
I don't know what he's doing these days.
Kind of like Chesney was when he was a kid. Does anyone remember that? Yeah. Does anyone care that he tried to invent a Chesburger? No, Coronation
Dennis
Street
kind of carried it through, didn't he? And he was a bit of a ne'er-do-well as well. He has spent time behind bars.
Yeah,
but you just kind of rooted for him as the
first episode he'd come out of prison.
Yeah, exactly.
I love him so much.
He had a spotty history in the show. He was in it a lot in, was it 1961, I think, from what we've seen.
He had to carry the show.
Yeah, he helped. He really carried the show during the equity strike when we were just down to 14 characters. And then he kind of went off, and then he was kind of on and off for a few years, and then that was it. But from what we've seen, he can't be at number one. I would probably say, compared to who we've got here, maybe 3. Well, it doesn't particularly matter at the end of the...
Anybody. I've said before, he could be one of my favourite characters.
We've still got some real... We're going to have to make some impossible cuts here. I mean, I'm saying in terms of importance, Shelley is probably done fairly well to reach number 8. And then maybe Todd.
Yeah.
Todd's fab, but I still don't think they've given enough life to Gareth Peirce's Todd.
The calibre of the people left is that
brilliant.
Todd is at 7.
Yeah.
And I love Todd, and I remember when Gareth Peirce came back and I realised that he was a different character to the original Todd. I remember nearly crying because I loved Todd so much.
Yeah.
And I knew going in that Gareth Peirce was not going to reproduce Bruno Langley's Todd.
But
I've grown to love him.
Yeah, and he's kind of made me forget, and I didn't think that could be possible.
No, you're completely right.
And I almost buy that he's always been Todd, and that could never happen, and that is purely down to the strength of Gareth's performance. He's absolutely cracking.
Like I said, I think of them as 2 different characters. Yeah. Right? I like them. I love them both equally. I wouldn't, if the same thing happened, if say they replaced Gareth Peirce with someone else, I'd feel as emotional as I did the first time because I think Gareth Peirce has worked so hard.
Yeah.
I really respect him for what he's been able to do with that character.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been given a story. I
love that he's smart without being dull. I love that he's kind of mischievous without being out and out villain.
He's not like he's not like an idiot.
He's not an idiot. He's funny without being an imbecile.
Yeah.
He's sensitive without being wet. And I think in some ways I identified a little bit with Todd in the early days, in that he was kind of a good boy at school and he wanted to get all the good grades, didn't he? And he was just kind of a really nice guy.
Gentle. He was surrounded by macho men.
Yeah. And his coming out story was superbly done.
Yeah.
There's a whole episode where Eileen finds out about it, and if you haven't watched that one, you really, really should. It was absolutely brilliant.
He had to deal with so much abuse, like homophobic abuse, even from people that everyone says they love, like Vera.
Vera, calling him this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Won't repeat it on this recording.
Can't even
say it. And that was from the early days of Coronation Street experimenting with homosexuality as a story. Kind of as a storyline and coming out, and
it was completely suitable for the time.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it's lovely.
Should have happened earlier, but
I hope that we live in a world now where some people don't understand what coming out means. I hope that's true, because it was a huge part of our childhoods and formative years of people just not revealing or being outed.
Yeah.
And I don't think that happens anymore as much as it used to in this country.
I really love that they've still kept that relationship with Sarah Louise going after all those years as well, because obviously she hated his guts when she found out that he'd kissed her brother Nick. And they, she had a baby on the way, and the baby died. But there's a lot of water's gone under the bridge there. But yeah, they have. But the fact that they can still occasionally, they don't do it half as much as they should, turn to each other and have serious grown-up conversations, and that's in the past, but we're still got this bond. I really, really like that. But looking at who's left, I don't think we can put him any higher.
We've got some great characters. We've got Audrey, Tracy, Leanne, Liz, Dennis, and Kevin.
I think I know who I want to go at number 6.
Is it Audrey?
No.
Who is it?
I think it's Kevin.
Okay, I agree with you.
I'm looking at... would you have said Kevin?
I would have said Kevin.
I'm looking at personal preference here.
Kevin has got the staying power. Kevin has got the legacy.
He's been in it 40 years.
He's had the storylines. He's got the performance. Fantastic. But as far as like personality goes, I can take him or leave him.
Yeah, that's it.
I can see the importance of him. I think maybe he's like a modern day Ray almost, where he's just a very gruff, macho, masculine.
I'm not really enjoying his grumpy, cranky side they've developed more over the past few years. He wasn't always like it, was he? He certainly wasn't in the 80s when it was him and Curly and Terry having a fun old time in the Rovers, and the dating with Sal, all the stuff with Hilda towards the end of the 80s.
I know, just don't forget that he was
all through that. He lived that through. He did have that affair with Natalie Barnes, which I can't forgive him for. And he's had his dull stories. He brought Jenny back to the street 10 years ago, very important. But
yeah, I mean, fine. He's a 6.
Yeah, and I think if he didn't have that clear legacy, and I think he's probably in the top 10 of characters with the most appearances, I would imagine. If he didn't have that, he would be lower. But I think we must respect Kevin and put him up there.
He would appreciate that.
Okay,
of these women, I think I just gave my hand away already.
Do you think people are going to be baying for your blood if you put Audrey at number 5?
But you're going against Tracy Barlow, who is, the heir to the Barlow family. Mm. But, and she's had huge storylines. You're going against Leanne, who I know some people really hate her. I think
us in the past would not have put Leanne this high.
Her, but she has been a massive part of the show since the first. She's barely been out of the show. She's left.
Yeah. She's had the odd in and out.
She's had so many massive storylines, and she's been
that
part
was just
of the
when she was doing one of her jobs.
Washing machine.
Yes.
You've got Liz McDonald, who's like a landlady of the Rovers, and you've got Dennis Tanner,
proper
who's
icon,
non-negotiable. I love Audrey. I just don't. I think, unfortunately, the actress is
Sue Nichols
advanced in years, and so in recent times she's not had as much to do.
She hasn't in recent times,
and it's only because, like, personally, of these women left, I think she might be my favourite. Personality wise, I love her more than I like Tracy, Leanne, and Liz.
I wonder, like, how many stories, if this is one, another criteria that we're judging by now, has Audrey had where she's kind of the main character? Because she lives off the street, and she's not always lived off the street, but most of the time she's lived off the street. She's always been a bit of a side character, hasn't she? She was an epic side character in the she was an epic side character in the Richard Hillman story, and I think that was Audrey at her peak.
I'm happy for you to argue me out of it, but you've got to argue me why she's better than any of these other 3.
I love her as a maternal figure. I think that she's a lot of fun. I mean, she's there with Audrey's salon, which has been a mainstay of the street. I know it's not been Audrey's all this time, but she's been part of the salon since the 90s.
On Coronation Street.
She's funny. She's sensible. She's kind of the withering looks that she gives Gail. She's a confidant for the grandkids.
Everybody said that Gail was the linchpin of the Platts, but I don't know if that's true. I think it probably was Audrey.
Yeah. Okay, I loved her relationship with Alfie. They were brilliant together. I've used the word brilliant quite a lot in here, but we have got a lot of very, very strong characters.
Okay, but here's the issue, right? Because Dennis is non-negotiable. We've now got...
See, a lot of people might be saying Dennis should probably be at number 5 here, and I think that's part of our problem.
We've now got 2 slots and 4 women. And that's a sexy problem to have. Right? So we need to decide, out of Tracy, Leanne, Liz and Audrey, which of those 2 is going to make it to the top 3 and get through to our top... billing. Which one of those...
Can I just apologise? We do have a very noisy tumble dryer going in the background. I don't know whether the mic's picking it up. I hope not. It's a bit noisy for us, but it gives us a bit of atmosphere, doesn't it? It gives a bit of tension to the scene.
Of the drama.
I think that Tracy should be in the top somewhere. I'm going to say.
Put Dennis and Tracy at the top. 3. No, put them at the top.
Okay. In no particular order.
So now we're arguing over... So there's 1 space left, and we've got Audrey, Leanne, and Liz.
I feel that Leanne should not make it.
How dare. How
And
very dare.
I love Leanne. There have been periods where I've hated Leanne. I respect Leanne's importance to the history of the show. She's another one, she's up there in number of appearances for characters. I think that she's a lot of fun, but she has had periods of being a bit of a nag, a bit of a bore, a bit of a mardy mare, hasn't she?
I have a complicated past with
We do have a complicated past with Leanne. Absolutely adore her at the moment and have done for quite a while, actually.
She has been fabulous. I think when they brought Toya back, I think it was a big turning point for me liking Leanne.
Yeah.
And I think her and Eva and Leanne were great. And I think also making, having her mum come in as beige woman, Stella. Even though everyone hated her, I think that was also an integral part of making Leanne a bigger character. Her stuff with Ollie was...
I think looking at absolute icons... I mean, you could say that Audrey and Liz... Do you want me to try and just talk for a bit while you go and close the door to the kitchen?
I thought it was closed.
No, I think I might have just pushed it too. It might have come over. Do you want to go and have a look?
Go on.
Gemma's going to keep on... I don't know how this is coming out. This is so professional. I'm looking and saying who gets an Icons programme on ITV when they leave. I mean, Audrey maybe does. Liz, I can't remember whether Liz did. I don't know, she had a difficult ending. Maybe Tracy doesn't belong there. It's really, really tough. I don't know what's going on with this door now. Maybe I'm kind of thinking, I'll see what Gemma thinks to this. If I put Leanne down at number 5, Dennis at 3, because he's non-negotiable. How did that go?
Open the door?
I didn't. I think that Abby must have opened it.
It's closable. It's one of the few doors that's closable.
Okay, is that better, everybody?
It's only got a minute left anyway.
I'm thinking Leanne at 5.
Right.
Maybe Tracy needs to go at 4.
Now, Liz, I think, needs to go through.
Because I'm kind of thinking...
Liz is a landlady of the Rovers.
So Stella, but she ain't going through. But Liz, I totally agree. No, I'm just being a bit facetious there.
Being stupid.
Liz has 100% one of the most iconic landladies of the Rovers. She has got a lot of years under her belt in terms of landladyship.
I think that she is kind of similar to Bet in that she's a brassy blonde with a troubled history, bad with men. She's got that legacy with Steve on the street.
Yeah. She's
I don't know that
really key player for a long time.
I'm happy to put Tracy... Are we not going to put Tracy through? We're going to put Audrey, Liz and Dennis through. And not Tracy.
Maybe.
I think that I'm going to say I'm happy with Liz and Dennis, but I'm going to challenge you on Audrey versus Tracy.
Audrey versus Tracy. I mean, Tracy has had maybe a bit more agency in recent years. Obviously, you got this... we saw Tracy grow up through the 80s with her being the troubled teen with Deirdre, having all the slanging matches there, the rotting cow in tart. She went away for a bit, came back with a new face, and ever since she did, she's just been she has been a lot of people's favourite, or up there, because of the reinvention of the character that Kate Ford was able to bring along. Kate Ford, the minxy, naughty, I don't care what anyone else thinks, I'm out for myself kind of side to her, which has been a lot of fun. It got a bit dull during the Carla spat. I think that lasted a bit too long, and she's definitely gone off the boil in terms of that side of her characterisation in the last few years. We've not seen enough of her in recent years, and obviously Kate Ford, according to reports, has gone on to a part-time contractor of some sort, so she's not as main a character as she was. But maybe
if you're going to boil it down to...
We've seen her life on the street.
If you're going to boil it down to currently, who do I, if a scene starts and one of these two is in it, which scene am I most excited to watch? The answer is the one with Audrey.
Yes.
Historically speaking, is she more important than... I think they're the same.
They're really, really similar.
I think then therefore the question is, which one do you like the most? And for me, it's probably Audrey.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put Audrey at number 1.
So would you want to put Audrey at 2? But then who goes at 1?
All right, let me tell you my ranking is Dennis at 1. Just put it there. Dennis at 1, This is my ranking. Dennis at 1, then it's Liz, then it's Audrey, then it's Tracy. That's my ranking. and I think that
I can't in all good faith put Dennis, who as much as we adore him, was not a significant contribution to the show for many years, unlike all 4 of these people in the top 5 that he's going up against.
Extra points for being at the beginning of the show, not just because it's...
Sorry, Esther, you must have had something really wrong with you.
Not just because it's, you know, I like history, I like the old, I'm like golden Hollywood, I like Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
I like...
Okay.
It's... No, let me finish. Because Coronation Street... Being part of the formative years of Coronation Street means a lot. All of these characters, like Elsie, like Dennis, like Minnie, they were formative, okay? They made the formula for what Coronation Street is. Mm-hmm. They made people watch at the beginning. They had millions more people watching them. If you added up how many millions of people watched Dennis Tanner, what does it compare to some of the people who are more modern characters at the bottom of this list?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking the question. But I don't feel bad, and I would never would let anyone argue me out of saying that he's my number 1 of this list. I don't care if you put him at number 2 or number 3, because he still gets through. But my point is, as far as characters go, of everybody on this board, Dennis Tanner is the best character for me.
Okay. I mean,
and
are you happy?
Do you see what I mean about being a formative character?
Yeah, of course.
And it's not just about being the first. It's about creating, with your skill and the characterization. Tony Warren made this character. How many other people on this board did he make? He made Esther Hayes. Maybe everyone has one mistake in them. Minnie Caldwell, you know, classic.
Yeah.
Is an icon.
I mean, I'm happy for Dennis Tanner to go through. I don't even know whether he's going to get through on the listener vote for this round, to be honest.
I doubt he will.
Are you happy with Leanne and Tracy at 4 and 5? And these 3...
Yeah, I think it's respectable. And defendable position.
I mean, at the end of the day,
put through Liz and Audrey.
At the end of the day, it's going to be the grand finale when we need to make the ranking for these, the absolute ranking.
Yes.
And maybe for now we can just say, oh well, they'll just be equal, and then they'll go through to the grand finale. I would still maybe. I would still maybe put Audrey above Liz.
Well, because you want to put Dennis at 3.
I just want to put Dennis at 3, but maybe can we split the difference and put Dennis at 2. Liz at 3, Audrey at 1, because we're both we both think that Audrey's very, very important and beloved.
I think this is going to be a fan bait ranking of Audrey being at number 1, because I think Twitter would say Audrey number 1.
Yes.
Because I think she's got the camp factor, and I think that Liz is kind of, because she's not in it anymore.
Yeah,
I think it's sad how quickly people go down in the estimation. I wouldn't say that she's... I love Audrey. I would love to put her at number 1. I don't think she is number 1, but I'm not going to fight you.
Okay, should we leave it as this? Because we could debate this for ages, and at the end of the day, it doesn't particularly matter until we get to the grand finale.
It's really fun. It's really fun to nitpick about it. But so the top 3 then.
Right, Liz and then Dennis and then Audrey at number 1.
Right.
So, I think we're there. I think we've got it. Let's have a quick rundown. So, at number 30, we've got boring old bland, but very fertile, Matt Ransden. Number 29, possibly should have been 30, but I don't particularly care. The lovely villain, we loved her, Grace Vickers. 28, Trés Alamord, but also Trés Ennuyeux. We've got Angie Freeman. Died in a fire. Leanne's fault, really, isn't it? Cal at number 27. And then we have got the very, very loyal Angela Harris at number 26. Number 25, you're lucky you got this high, but we respect the history there, Esther Hayes. 24, Susie Birchall. And 23, Trisha Hopkins. Much of a muchness there.
I think that it's important for us to put Dennis at number 2. If you're going to put Trisha and Susie, so low and say you don't know the difference between the two of them. We've got to retain some street cred somewhere.
This is true. Number 22, I love him. And he's got a very great first name. It's Michael Bailey. 21, the most blunderous death on Coronation Street, Joe McIntyre. Number 20, Dead Under Gale's Annex. It's Callum Logan. And then we have got Nicola in actress name and character name. Nicola Rubinstein is at number 19. The one with the legs is at number 18. Should have been 11 really, shouldn't she? It's Kelly Crabtree. And then lovely, gone but not forgotten, and we wish you could have stayed longer, Aggie Bailey.
Do you feel like a bingo caller?
A little bit, yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks. Number 16, we've got Goth Nina. That's all she is really. No labels, hashtag. Number 15, Tragic Exit. Bit of a dull character before then, not going to lie. Shane Ward. It's Aidan Connor. Number 14, loving rocking the hair, the mullet of the man of the 70s. Alpha male, pretty dull in my opinion, but I respect his legacy. It's Ray Langton. Number 13, we have got Sunita Alahan, and number 12, right after her actually, we've got her daughter Asha. Absolutely love her. Maybe
in a few generations they'll make it into the top 5.
Maybe they will. Number 11, Mr. Smooth himself, it's Lewis Archer, and then we get to our top 10. Definitely not kept a place in Corrie history, unfortunately, by most of the fans, but we love her and she deserves to be in the top 10, we think. Irma Ogden. Next up, we've got cat-loving Minnie Coldwell, and takes us number 8, Shelley Unwin. Number 7, the man with two faces, we have got Todd Grimshaw here. And number 6, we have Mr. Mechanic Man. I don't think I'm doing such a good job of describing them.
Is it because I bigged you up too much and I intimidated you?
Yeah, the man with the tash, Kevin Webster. Number 5, it's old Slaggy Leanne. And
Slaggy Leanne?
Yeah, but she's risen above it since then. And probably a sparring partner of Leanne's, actually. Lock these two in a room together, see who comes out on top. We have got Tracy has beaten her this month to number 4. Tracy Love. Oh, I couldn't quite make it. Number 3, she had the hair, she had the skirt, she had the zigzag necklace, she had the plunging neckline, she had high heels, she'd got it all. Liz McDonald has made it through to the grand finale. She is number 3. Followed by Gemma's favourite, should have been number 1, recent revelation to us, Dennis Tanner, and number 1, the Queen of the Street herself, Audrey Roberts, has made it to our number 1 spot this month. But
you need to know, Audrey, Dennis and Liz.
That's all you need to know. You didn't need to listen to any of the episode, to be honest. You might have just skipped to the end.
But you've done such a fantastic job of explaining everybody, and I would like to know, I think this is going to be a very different list.
I cannot wait to see how the listeners vote here. We had some such strong contenders. So get yourselves over to our listener poll. The link will be in the episode description of the podcast, on the comments or the notes on the YouTube video. We'll post it on social media. Get yourself over there. Pick your top 3. It's going to be a hotly contested battle. So if you've got some in here that you think, no, I want them to get through to the listener grand finale, you got to get out there and vote, because somebody else might just vote someone else and then we'll take your favourite away. So that is it for our March visit to Corrieliminator. We will be back in 4 or 5 weeks' time, probably.
for the finale.
Not the quite finale. The final sorting of characters we've not talked about yet. The final cull will be picking the final 3 to get into the grand finale. If you were paying attention earlier, you will see who that is. One
of them is Ken.
One of them is Ken. Ken has not been picked yet. It's unbelievable. We just can't shake Ken, can we?
I know.
It's like he stays with it to the end. Whatever.
He's just Ken.
Right, we're going to go now. Thank you so much for listening. If you've been on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Thanks in advance for voting as well. Gemma, final words for this month's Corrieliminator?
Dennis Tanner forever.
Dennis Tanner forever, says Gemma. Right, goodbye everybody. See you next time. Ta-ra.